right, so for the much awaited Twyla Dell, she really doesn't need much of an introduction at this point. Got her PhD at an advanced age. I mean, she's an inspiration. Is that not the way to say it? When you were only 70. So she's an amazing individual. I think we all are well aware of that. She is working on her memoir. She's writing a book. She's using some of the talks that you're hearing her share here today. So let's just go ahead and give her a great warm Oasis welcome.
Well, haven't we been a tossed salad these last couple of weeks, have we not? Holy cow, go here, no, don't go there, no, stay home, now come back. Meanwhile, I'm calling my friends, go there, no, come here. So let me just check. You're all the Baptist convention, right? Oh, good. Because my inner Baptist minister is coming out today. I started working on this talk and I began to get angry. I have fire in the belly and I'm going to share it with you today, and it won't come until the end, but it will come. A new idea of what I think Oasis might be about. So today we're going to talk about how we got to be human, and I know that those of you who've been here before, you've seen this chart twice and you're rolling your eyes and you think, I can't believe she's doing it again. I'm giving you new information, I promise. And those of you who haven't been here before, who haven't been here before? Oh my, all right, well see, we need to do this. And so I will give you enough of a sketch so you can walk away today with your very own creation story. And it's interesting that Melanie talks about the creation stories. There are many of them. This is the one that is written in stone. Let me get my hands coordinated here. I was going to wear these leopard skin pants today. These shorts because Helen had worn hers. But I just felt, you know, I was going to make her jealous, but I felt like she just had enough on her plate, so I didn't wear those. I forgot all about this. All right, so we are going to talk about evolution today. We have been talking about evolution, right? Oh, thank you. And so if there's anyone who does not want to hear about the end of the story and the beginning of what happens next, you are free to leave now, because I'm going to lay it on. All right. I can't do evolution in 20 minutes. It's just not possible. But I can do it in 30. And I will do it in 30. Pretty close. And about 20 minutes after, we are going to have a bipedal moment. Okay, we're not sure what that is. I'll make it clear. So anyway, we'll have a big surprise, and you'll love it. So anyway, here we go. Getting on the cosmic bus again. 10 million years, gotta go. All right, everybody put your arm up like this. Grab your seat belt. Come on, come on. You can't get on the bus without your seat belt. Clip it on the opposite hip. Okay. 10 million years, here we go. First Big Bang. Whoa, that means there's more than one Big Bang? Yes, I've added 2 or 3 today. Who says we can't? So the first Big Bang is the one that we all know about, and that is 13.8 billion years ago by light year measurement. And as Neil deGrasse Tyson says, who is the astrophysicist we all know and love, it is from this that we derive our physicality, from stardust to us. This is how we got here. All right, we dispense with that very quickly. Second Big Bang. Oh, who says we can't be a Big Bang? Now, we've done enough space exploration to realize that we're pretty darn rare. And so I'm saying we're a Big Bang. We're a very, very Big Bang, are we not? Come on, guys. Yeah, thank you. Holy cow. And of course, she didn't start out looking green and blue and gorgeous. She looked ugly and hot mess and pooped, just like all babies do, right? So she started out very hot and ugly at 4.5 billion years ago. Okay, everybody here, this is where it starts. Hot mess, methane atmosphere. This is what she was pooping. This is what cows poop, right? Right? All right. so we're here. 2 billion years it takes to create photosynthesis so that we can translate sunlight into food. We also begin to get living cells. And we have to have cells and cell membranes in order to capture life, to divide, to multiply, to differentiate. So this begins to happen in here. We get up here and we have the ozone layer that protects us from the harsh layers of the sun. And this is 88% of the life of planet Earth happens right here. And all of this is preparation for the big party to come. And if you're ever making a business plan, understand this is not a bad idea to spend a lot of time here getting ready for the party, okay? All right. So this is our scripture. And I suggest that you get yourself one. You can get it at the Geological Survey website. You put it up in your kitchen and you remember this story and you start to fill it in. There's still a lot of stuff here that I won't have time to tell you. Every one of these names up and down here is a place where a fossil was found. They're from all over the world. They have been put together by scholars for 3 or 4 centuries and coded and accepted and written about. And this is the scripture that we have that tells us how the earth came to be and how we came to be. It doesn't get any better than that. It is not mythology, it is science. Are you with me? Yes? Yes. All right. Praise God. Okay. Yeah. So you remember the heroic trilobite down here, right? We love this trilobite. And what do we say to her? Hello, Mata. Come on. Hello, Mata. I mean, she gave us eyes. This is the only place where eyes were created. Only time. We love her, do we not? Yes, we do, Mata. Okay. And then all of the life that we have happened in the Paleozoic. We got our backbone from the fish. We got our skin from the amphibians, from the dinosaurs. We got dandruff, all those scales. I mean, I don't know what else they did for us. And up here, these are the eyes the trilobite gave us. Up here at the top of this, at the top of the Paleozoic, we have Mama Mammal. Mama Mammal, look at her. She is really important because she has put together everything that we are going to use when we get over to here. Now take a look. Got an eye. Thankfully, she only has one eye. We don't want all those eyes, right? Ew. So, she has an eye, she has an ear, an exterior ear. She has a jaw and teeth. All in one place, how nice. What if the ear were on a rear end? What if the eye were over here? I mean, it's really beautifully designed. Nose. And also we got insects so we could eat. And look at this paw here. 5 fingers. We're all here. And she has fur. And we're going to be hairy, aren't we not? So this little tree shrew had to generate all of this stuff and bring it together. And best of all, she has internal combustion. That is bearing young alive. She is not off laying her eggs in the sand or in the water. She is bearing the young alive. Little row of tits here, little suckers, you know, life. And so we're going to rearrange these elements over time in different ways, many, many, many different ways. But they all came together right here. Let's hear it for the tree shrew, everybody. Okay, now we're going to go over here. We're in the Jurassic World era. We're having a dinosaur afternoon. The little tree shrews and the mammals, they're little. They're trying to stay out of sight, you know, just a snack and they're gone. And so the biggest mammal, probably the size of a small dog, And so this is a Jurassic afternoon here. All of these are place names. Jurassic is from Switzerland. And so, you know, they're all getting along as well as they ever will. And then we get up here, we have the 5th extinction. We've had 4 extinctions here, 1, 2, 3, 4. We've also had coal and oil laid down in here. And now we're going to get over to here, and the 5th extinction has wiped out the dinosaurs, and we have big mammals coming up. Whales, elephants, that kind of thing, because the food source is available to them now. And so, oh, before we leave, this is the chicken of doom. One artist decided that the Tyrannosaurus Rex was really a giant chicken. What an idea, huh? So dress him up like this, and what do you think if Jurassic World had dressed up that giant Tyrannosaurus Rex as a chicken? Would that have changed the movie? Huh? I think it would have. All right, so now we're all the way up in here, and we are in the Miocene. This is the last part that we're going to be. All of this has been a review. You're okay with that? So the Miocene is the middle new. Scene is new, middle. And so we've got grasslands, herbivores, and predators. And these 3 always come in combination, because if you have grasslands and herbivores only, they are going to eat all the grass and it will become desert, and then they'll die out. So the predators, nasty as they are very necessary to keeping the herbivores in check. So here's an herbivore afternoon full of kind of half-baked mammals, huh? And not the kind we see now, but the kind that you saw here. And here's a predator, one of those guys. How would you like to be neighbors with him? Because guess what? You're going to be out there with them. Now here is an early elephant. Look at this. The tusk is down here. So in the next, these are about 25 million years ago, this is going to have to move up in here so that when we see it in the modern times, that's what it looks like. Here's a half-baked rhinoceros, looks pretty well done. Half-baked giraffe. Early hyenas, you know what they do. They keep the ungulate population down. And, oh, first human. Well, not exactly human. But about 13 million years ago, this guy shows up. I think he looks like the creepy kid down the street, don't you? The kind you're worried is peeking in the window at night because here he is in the tree. And the reason I included him is he has a very important component here. This is the prehensile foot. Big toe there. This is the foot. Big toe, big long fingers. This is his arm. This is his junk. This is his other arm. Just saying. Okay. And so what we want to see here is what we're going to do with this prehensile foot in order to become human so that we can have our bipedal moment. Are you putting it together? Okay, so these are prehensile toes. These are lemur feet. These are not hands. These are lemurs. They're cousins of ours. And you see how spread out that foot is. Funny little toes, big thumb way over here. So that's going to have to do a lot of work to come down and stand on the ground. All the bones that are going to have to change. And the ankle has to change, and the knee, and the muscles, and up the thigh, and the hip, and the pelvis has to change, and the backbone for us to stand up. All of this has to happen. It takes millions of years. Doesn't happen over time. So here's the same formula I showed you before. The 3 elements of evolution created in the 3rd Big Bang that we were about to see. Time, energy, and environment. It takes millions of years, the energy from the Big Bang and the surface of the Earth as the canvas on which these things are played out. So here is the 3rd Big Bang. Are you ready? I want you to clap when you see her. Here she comes. Yay! Right in here. Right in here. This is, put your hands up like this. I mean, you know, here you are. Here you are. This is your first moment. Lucky a camera caught it. So, and look at the thumb. Look at the thumb, the long fingers. Look at the face. Needs a lot of work. The body's doing better. All that hair that the tree shrew got, right? And so her name is Nakali Pithecus. Pithecus is Greek for ape. Nakali is her name. It's after the Japanese scientist who found her bones about 10 years ago in Africa. And so let's learn to say this, everybody, and repeat Pithecus. Pithecus. Nakali. Nakali. Big one. Nakali Pithecus. One more time. Nakali Pithecus. Yeah, that's your mama. One of your many mamas. How many generations, if there were 50,000 generations per million years of hominid life, and hominid, hominid, anthropoid, all of those names are about the same, and they, 20 years a generation. The Bible says a generation might be 40 years, but this gal ain't going to make no 40 years, you know that. She's got those big cats on her tail. Anyway, then there would be 50 million generations. 50 million generations. Any of you into generational history in your family? And in 10 million years. Here's her face closed up. Is she sweet? All she can do is to be alive and do the most basic things. So her little mug, right here, how long, how many changes did it take to get this little mug to be your little mug? So you gotta go down that tunnel of evolution, and then here we are, we're having, that's a good barista, by the way, isn't it? Mama Nakali Pithecus. Hello, Mama. All right. What makes her hominid? What makes her human? Upright walking, bipedalism, all that stuff that the body did to straighten up the feet, the prehensile toe, the body design, and the brain capacity. Yes, because as the body changed, the brain grew, and they got more proficient at hunting and diet. And so, the mighty thumb. I want you all to raise up your thumbs like this. You would not have this world without them. Give them a kiss. Come on, give them a kiss. You love them. You just ask your dog when you get home. Huh? You ask your dog to stand up. He can be bipedal. Yeah, he can. And that's it. No thumb. He has to get back down. Same with the horse. Yeah. Has to get back down. No thumb, no gravy, the way we live. So they have a long snout that picks up their food because they don't have a thumb. And the most lists do not mention the thumb, and I think it's vastly overlooked. You try to live a week without one. Oh, and also what they do is wonder. And imagine, you're out on the African plain with all of those animals and all of those predators, and you've left your baby, raise that baby up over there, Sarah. You've left your baby over there while you've come over here to get something to eat. And then the jaguar is over here, and Mama's wondering. She's doing geometry, isn't she? I mean, isn't this the hypotenuse of the triangle, right? And can she make it there before, you know, one thing or the other happens? And so that kind of wondering and imagining was what helped us get aggressive and cunning. All the cunning that they did was about survival, was outsmarting the other animals. And then they got into tool making and fire making and language making, but that took a long time, and I'll get to that later. So here's their neighbor. This is an actual fossil, saber-toothed cat, and you had to watch out for it. And there has been found a scattering of jaguar bones and a human skull among those bones with the teeth just right there in those two holes. So they know at least one little Nakali Pithecus was dragged off, kicking and screaming into the lunch pail of the jaguar. And before, we had these cute little kittens, and we could just do whatever we wanted with them. Where's Brian? Is he here today? No, Brian, my cat man? Oh, there you are. Oh, good. Yeah, you love these little guys. You really love the hat, don't you? And they had to miniaturize down over all this time from the big cats that we started out with. Here it is. Yeah, that's your neighbor. Huh? That's you for lunch. Nicole had to protect her ass, right? Yeah, I mean, that's all she had to protect, and she did it. And after 50 million generations, it's not all that different. We have to protect our assets, right? It is the same jungle. So the word for today that I want you to take away with it, it's interesting that it's up here, has a very refined 20th century feel to it. Mine goes back to this point here. Your response ability was all you had. You could either outrun or you could get eaten. And this meant you were alert, ready, prepared, brave, interested, word for brave, warlike, ferocious, oh my God, ferocious, modifying the environment, learning to defend yourself with tools and trees. Here's a picnic. You can have a picnic today. Don't take off your clothes. So here's what they looked like. They had no tools. They had a branch, they had a voice, they had numbers, and they had anger. And this is what they did. So what did they do? They had to run. They had to eat. And that's why there's so little. There wasn't much of them to eat. And they had to roost. And they probably just fell down in what I call a puppy pile. And maybe they had branches with them. Maybe they had rocks. But, you know, and you suppose they ever had the conversation, look, Slick, you take the first watch. And you, Sniffer, you keep sniffing the air. And Screamer, you get ready. Do they have that conversation? Probably not. But they probably were nervous sleepers, don't you suppose? And then when the animals would attack, they would jump up and they would scream and scratch and throw. And one of their little tribe would get dragged off into the night screaming. And it was a tragic existence, but it was all they had, it was all they knew. And they could breed. And that was their best weapon. Because look at us. Somehow we just kept increasing in numbers in spite of that harvest going on all the time. We got the numbers increased to the point that we finally just outdid them, outsmarted them, outbred them, and outmaneuvered them. So I don't know how many offspring each little female had, but enough to keep the tribe going. So here's Nicole Pithecus. She has a womb, she has babies, she keeps us going. From here, I am going to show you the rest of the lineup up to the present moment of all the faces that we know of, not all of them, but many of them. So here's Mama, and then here's Chad. I've underlined the part of their name that is a nickname. He's dumb as a box of rocks, you know. But he lived. He lived. And Artie Pithecus. Again, Pithecus means, Pithecus, I should say, Pithecus means ape. And last time I told you erroneously that she was 8 million years old, which she was, but not in this picture. Different camera. Okay, 4.4 million years ago, Australopithecus afarensis, Lucy, yes, you. Lucy, the famous one, we have invited to come with us and be here today, and so that we can see her in full regalia. Yeah, come on, Lucy. Lucy was named after the Beatles song Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, discovered in 1977, and has been the big emblem of earlies. By the way, these are I call these people earlies. The other scholars call them prehistoric people, and I just don't think that is good enough. So I call them the earlies. And so Lucy is only about 3 feet tall, just like Necale Pathecus was. And look at her feet. Her feet, look, and those feet have done some walking. You know, from the feet that we saw 13 million years ago, they've been on the ground walking and all that body. By the way, Lucy's feet were never found, but they could tell by the tilt of her pelvis. That's what they tell me, that she was a walker. And if you go to the Prairie Fly Museum, give Brett a hand here, thank you. And if you would like to have your picture taken with Lucy afterwards, you are welcome to do so. If you would like to make a $1 donation to Melanie's school funding, she would be glad to receive it, I'm sure. And so, how many of you have been to the Prairie Fire Museum? Good, good, good. Yeah, and so Lucy is there. Here she is, little bitty Lucy. And she has brass rods for feet because they were not found. Here's Neanderthalis, here's Homo sapiens, whom we call sap. Okay, so coming back a little bit, the next one in our lineup is Homo habilis. I call him Hab. Now he probably did not descend from Lucy because her face was quite a bit different, and there's only 500,000 years between them, and so, but there were over 20 different types of human species out there at one time. So be aware that Hab gave us tools. He's the carpenter man, and we have not been without tools since. And we like Hab a lot. Homo erectus, or Eric, fully upright, came later, and Hab and Eric were contemporaries for about 400,000 years. They probably waved at each other over the valley. Maybe they did a little interbreeding. And then Eric did fire, and then Heidelbergensis, he's kind of a common ancestor, and he is considered to be the father of Homo neanderthalis and Homo sapiens. And so here we get to Grandpa. That didn't take so long, 50 million generations almost. And so time passes while we're evolving, you know how it does. And now we're up to the present moment when we have a present day person. Here he is. Looks like us, right? Has a beard. Beards are in, right? You notice beard. There's David with a beard back there now, you know, and no offense. But I notice these guys doing this, right? And they look so wise, and you think they're thinking, right? It's really bugs. Is that true, David? No. Bugs. Bugs. Okay. Just a theory. So, we have created, from Homo sapien, the true evolution, our own concrete jungle. It is keeping out the natural world, but all kinds of vicious predators prowl the hallways, don't we know it? And we have a good life. And we have a republic. Look how far we've come. We have 2 houses of Congress. And we have a Senate. And we have a senator. Oh my God. The great denial. How did this guy get in here? This is Senator James Inhofe with his famous, infamous snowball now. In February, when Washington was snowed in, and he has, this is my word for him, fatuous. It's a great word. You know fatuous? F-A-T-U-O-U-S? I want you to know it and apply it to him. It means childlike, stupid, ignorant. I could go on. And so he has the audacity to stand there in the Senate with the snowball and say, there is no global warming because it is cold outside. Now that is fatuous. Okay. Because he is the belief paradigm. You know I love these guys. I had to work them in one way or another. So this is the reason. David Mitchell was here 3 weeks ago, and he was talking about global warming, and somebody said, well, why aren't they doing anything? This is the reason. Because the belief paradigm, as I call it, I don't have a better name for it, and they want this story to be true, to the point that any official they elect has to, yes, it is true. In fact, 4 candidates for governor in Texas a couple of years ago, all 4 of them pledged that they would put creationism in the schools. This is their constituency. And so they have each other by the tail. We elect you, you keep our story true, because the spotlight of science that we have that shows global warming to be true cannot be turned on these guys, because then we would see they were not true. It was not a scientific story. It is a wonderful legend of fertility and origins. So the belief paradigm looks at global warming and says, at best, it is a possibility happening to somebody else, somewhere else, some other time. It is not going to affect us. A liberal plot to undermine Christianity. Did I tell you my dog's name is Libby? So here's the great denial going on with our tax dollars at work. So we have the 2 paradigms. We're still caught in the 2,500-year-old belief paradigm from which we are trying to escape. The science paradigm is 400 years old. We've done a good job. So Imhoff lives a life of science up to here and belief up to here. You know, if he checks his car key, his phone, reads a nutritional label, wears clothes, drives a car, etc. He's in the science world. But from here to here, it's belief, and we have not been able to change that. Oh, so here's a little story. A couple of weeks ago, when the Confederate flags were coming down, somebody showed a Prius. You know, a Prius is kind of a tree hugger car. And well, I can't say it. Anyway, a Prius in Boston. Now, so far so good, right? It had 4 Confederate flags on it. Now that is confusion, is it not? Yeah? So that's like Imhoff. Up here I'm a believer, from here on down I'm a scientist. And so these 2 things have to come together. Do you believe in global warming? Raise your hand. Come on, come on, come on. Thank you. Had I not taught you anything? Thank you. Give her a hand, huh? Come on. How many of you raised your hand when you knew you did not believe? Holy cow. It's a good thing I came back for a second time. All right, here we are. Let's read these together. I understand the science of global warming. I accept the information as reliable. Is that true? Yes? Yes? All right. Then, I'm sorry to say, global warming is an inevitability. Do you understand that? It is not happening to somebody else, somewhere else, some other time on another planet. It is happening here, now, and this is when I began to get angry. So why aren't we doing more about it? Where do we go from here? We are now in the present. We are up here. We're clear up here. The chart is done, and we are looking at the future. We are living the future every day. And global warming is coming at us down the track. And what are we doing? We're having a picnic. Not that we shouldn't. But think about it, which is what I'm asking. And we hide in the past, go on into the future, or do we get taken up by this? Now, there are plenty of people who are depending upon this exit as the planet begins to get extra hot. You and I, we didn't buy that ticket. We didn't get our ticket punched. But they're leaving. We're staying. We're thinking it's kind of going to look like this. Oh, no, we don't want that to happen. So here we are. Response. What is our response to what is happening? What is our response as a group? What can we as a volunteer organization do to begin to address this? If we can't get a conversation going in the Senate, in the Congress, what are we going to do? These are some of my questions, and I know that you have others. What do we do with environmental refugees, which we will surely have in the next 3 to 5 years? My son called from Los Angeles, said, Mom, they say it's the worst drought in 1,200 years. Now, who's been taking notes in California all that time? How do they know that? I gave you 4 ways to measure time back in last September.
Fossil record.
Fossil record of what? I gave you 4 tree rings, ice rings. Come on, tree rings, right? They cut down a redwood. They counted the rings. Yeah, that's how they know, tree rings. So what if 3 or 4 more years of the worst drought ever, and they have to begin to leave because there's no water in the wells, and that's already happened in some towns, and the crops have given out, and they're coming off across the mountains. Meanwhile, the water has risen on the Jersey Shore, and they're beginning to come in Florida. I mean, this is the scenario, is it not? And we did not get prepared for Katrina. Are we going to just let these people forage off the countryside? What kind of plan should we be talking about? How do we share our resources with them? How do we dismantle what I call the consumer society? Is that cute? Okay, it was a typo first. Society, and I had a D instead of an S, and I thought, oh, that's kind of cute. Anyway, give people, how are we going to give them, are we always going to go to the sales at Macy's on Saturday? Is that it? Is that what we're about? What did all that evolution do for us to bring us up to here? All those magnificent creatures that we have been and interacted with. What do we do as human beings to go into the future to protect our family? Here's my hope. Can we create a self-sustaining electronic village in a bioregion? In other words, I want to pick up my house and keep it. I want the electricity and the plumbing and the comforts and the, and I'll just eat within 100 miles. We won't eat everywhere else. That's a bioregion. Can we do that? Oh, what happened to that? Oh, I did the wrong thing. All right, can we save democracy? That's another big question. Or will it go down the tubes as we go into martial law because we have more guns than anybody in the entire solar system? What can we do with that? How do we build our own ark? Which is what we're talking about. How do we build a life for ourselves and our wonderful creatures in a way that down 100 and 200 years, the people will look back and say, those in 2015 to 2025, they grabbed a hold of it and they started the conversation going, and that's what I'm asking you to do. Meet, discuss, talk. I'm proposing a meeting at July 28th at my house, and we can meet there, or if there are a few of us, how many of you would be interested in talking about this? A few? Okay, good. We'll get it on the website. And meanwhile, I will come back in December, and I will talk to you about what Santa knows about evolution, and you should too, and you may release your seatbelt. Thank you.